welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. Now, excuse me, I'm actually just in the process of doing something. Hang on a wee second. Yep, next. Yeah, trust you've all had a good week. It's been really nice. Actually feels like, I wouldn't say summer's round the corner, but it feels like spring is in the air. The weather's been fantastic up here in Scotland this last week. I mean, I was out running. Where was I out running? I was out running on Monday, and it was a glorious day. It was really warm. So yeah, I must admit I'm not a big winter fan. Because I like getting out and about, whether it's running, taking dogs for walks, just getting out and about. Winter doesn't really kind of sit too well with me. But anyway, I hope you've had all a good weekend. Now, what have I got? I'm actually hang on a wee second. Right, okay, that's installing. Yeah, what have I been up to? Gaming wise, not a lot. When have you heard that before? The only games I have been playing, I did Arcade Perfect my arse on Donkey Kong. So I think I played about 50 million versions of Donkey Kong. Most were pretty good, it has to be said. So yeah, that was that. Anything else? Oh, I'll tell you what I bought myself. I can't even ask getting it down. Dominic Diamond mentioned, asked him what games he was playing, and he mentioned Max Payne 3. He said he'd completed it and it was really good. So I thought to myself, I mean, I played the first one many moons ago on the PC. So I thought I'll go and check it out. So I had a look and I got it for £2.61 for the 360. However, because I'm an impatient sod, I noticed it was on. One of my mates said that the PC one, well, in his words, blew it away. So I had a look and I think I got the PC one for like £3 or something. So I'm maybe about an hour into the game, but it's pretty incredible. It's got the really good time lapse thing, kind of slows everything down. So yeah. Now the reason I'm looking to my left here all the time is because I use the printer a lot for work. My wife uses it and my daughter uses it for school. And the printer I've got, I mean, I actually thought I'd only had it about a year, but I've actually had it for 2 years. It cost me 80 quid. Cracking printer, but the problem is I was using these, I'm saying cheapo, using the unofficial ink cartridge things, and needless to say, I'm now getting really crap print quality. So I've tried to clean the heads. I've been trying to clean them for a couple of weeks. I even opened the printer up to try and fix it and I gave up. So yeah, my wife has kindly bought a laser printer which is coming tomorrow. I mean, it's about 100 quid or something. Apparently the cartridges are about the same price as the printer, so that'll be fun. So yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, so anyway, I can't print stuff off. So one of my mates, in fact, let's step it back a wee bit. I bought myself a Nexus 7 tablet about a year ago, and there was an update came out for it about 3-4 months ago, which has pretty much rendered it useless. It really has. It goes so slow when you put stuff, anything on it at all. So it's just basically sat up there doing nothing. And one of my mates, he was selling, what's it called? In fact, I'll tell you exactly what it's called because I've got it right here in front of me. It's called the Stream 7 and it runs Windows. Yeah, they were selling this thing for 50 quid if you used this coupon thing. So he bought it and he realises it's a great bit of kit, but he said that he feels like you'll not get to use it. So he was selling it for 50 quid. So I thought, I'll have that, thanks very much. So I've got this, so I'm actually in the process of installing, what's it called? It's called Office 365. It's basically a full version of Microsoft Office, so that's installing at the moment. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to be saying use recommended settings, accept. Yeah, so what I'm having to do here is, I've typed up my stuff to talk about tonight and I've emailed it to myself. So once this thing finishes installing Word, it's now in 90. Well, it just jumped from 79 to 90%. I'm going to be able to read it out. So anyway, yeah, this week not been a lot of games apart from Donkey Kong. There's a few things I was going to tell you and I can't mind what. Okay, pickups. Now again, you probably think I'm loaded, and believe you me, I'm not, guys, but I've actually been selling a few bits and pieces. I'm trying to sell that Nexus. I sold a PSP. I actually posted that today. I'm going to sell that Texas computer which I bought. I don't know why I bought it. That was a bit of a silly move. I'm going to sell that. So I've basically been clearing out a lot of stuff that I don't use, and just using the money to buy other bits and pieces. So, you know, my wife sees all this stuff coming in and I think she thinks, you know, my goodness, look at all the money you're spending. But what I tend to do is I sell stuff, then buy something with the money. So, yeah. What was I going to say? I wish this thing would hurry up so I can remember what I'm going to talk to you about. Still sitting at 90%. Aye, wow, 300 subscribers. What the hell? When did that happen? Seriously, it's mental. I must admit, I mean, the Dominic Diamond, I don't want to single out one video because that wouldn't really be fair. Because, you know, I put a lot of work in, and, you know, other people put a lot of work into my videos as well. But I've got to say, I mean, the Dominic Diamond video, I think it's just under 700 views. And that's just over a week. Excuse me while I scratch my foot. Even though it's got quite high views, up to about 3-4 days ago, I was a bit disappointed. I didn't get any subscribers. I think I got one. I think it went up to about, what was it? It went up to about 298 or something. And it just sat, and it sat, and it sat, and it sat, and I couldn't believe that nobody was going to. I really thought this was going to really bump the subscriber number up, which it wasn't doing. But in the last, I would say, last 2 days, I'm now up to, I think, is it 307. So yeah, I've picked up about 7 or 8 subscribers in the last couple of days, which is excellent. So thanks to anybody that's just subscribed to my channel, and obviously thanks to everybody else that's still sticking with me. Yeah, 300 subscribers. It seems to. I suppose the 100. I was going to say the 100 miles. I suppose the 100 mark is always a bit of a milestone, especially when you're quite low like myself. But yeah, I mean, that's what would that be? I've been doing this. I think I started in November 2013. So I'm about a year and, I don't know, 4 months in. So that's not bad. That's not bad going. But thanks to everybody that's stuck with me and supported me. You know what I mean? It's been a blast. It's been good fun. It's definitely had its ups and downs, that's for sure. But yeah, it's all good fun. But I'm not going to talk too much about this, guys, because I think I need to do a 300 subscriber special. So I need to give that some thought. So yeah, I wish this thing would hurry up. This is starting to annoy me now. Where are we now? It's still at 90%. What's going on? Am I supposed to tick that? Hang on a second. Oh, wait a minute. How would you like your office to look? Circle, right, okay. Was that waiting for me? Take a look. No thanks. You can use Office now. Well, hurry up. Right, okay, it's still doing something. Yeah. So, what was I talking about? Aye. I'm getting totally off topic here. So yeah, going back, I don't have loads of money. I just sell stuff to buy stuff. The new 3DS. Now, I have got a 3DS. Well, I say I've got it. It's really my daughter's got it. I mean, I bought it for myself, but my daughter, because she's been doing really well at school, I bought her, what do you call it? It's not Tamagotchi. It's something like Tamagotchi, something or another. Basically, it's like The Sims. I bought her this game. So yeah, I don't really get to touch the thing. But a few of my mates have been talking about this new 3DS. And you know, apart from the having the sort of Super Nintendo style buttons, the big sort of selling point I think for it is or the biggest bugbear of the original 3DS was it had a very, very small sort of like sweet spot. If you just moved your head even slightly to the side, you would lose the 3D effect. And for that reason, that put me off playing 3D games. What's it doing now? It's just made a noise. I don't know. No idea what it's doing. Yeah. But they were going on about this new 3DS, you know, it's great, it's really, really good. So I thought, I'll have a look at that, and then I was up in game. In fact, it's when I was up buying that game for my daughter. I mentioned to one of the guys, you know, behind the counter, I said, "Oh, what's this new 3DS like?" I says, "Is it worth getting?" And he went away and got it, and he showed me it, and I've got to say I was pretty, I didn't say blown away, but I was pretty impressed with just how good the 3D looks. Apparently it's a more powerful machine, but the biggest thing is it's got, well, here you go, this is the one that I got. It's got, you're probably going to see it, it's got a wee camera right at the front. Where is it? Right at the front here. Now that apparently tracks your head movement, so it actually adjusts the 3D depending on where your head's pointing. So yeah, that's it. I mean, it's got the same analog stick. It's got the buttons. You can't really see it here, but it's got like the SNES type buttons: the yellow, red, blue, and green. And it's also got, I don't know what that is exactly. It's got a wee, I don't know what that is. You know what? I really don't know. It's a kind of analogy type. It feels like one of these things. Remember on the early laptops, it was like a wee nipple thing that you move to move the mouse. It feels like one of these things. So yeah, that's the new 3DS. Now, this thing is bleating away. I don't know what it's actually doing. Hang on a wee second. Right, can I open up my documents? Let's give this a wee shot. Friday Waffle. Come on. Now here we go. We're getting something now, guys. Hey, right, there we go. There's my Friday Waffle, and it's full of resplendent glory on this. Yeah, so anyway, this thing, it's £150 I think it is to buy. No, I'm talking bollocks. It's how much is it? 180. Yeah, it's 180 quid to buy. Hang on a wee second, the office. Yeah, okay. Open doc. Hang on a second. The file format design support all the features. Right, okay. I should have done this beforehand. Aye, what am I talking about? Yeah, it's 180 quid. However, one of my mates, he bought... Just stop making that noise. He bought the... what do you call it? He bought his from Amazon France for 30 quid less. So I had a look, and I mean, I don't speak French at all, so using the wonder that is Google Translate, I was able to buy this for 150 quid, so it was like 30 quid cheaper, and that was free postage. No, I'm talking shite, it wasn't free postage, I think it was 3 quid or something postage, it wasn't very much. And that arrived, I think that arrived today. It took about, I'd say about 4 or 5 days to come. So yeah, definitely worth it. I've never actually thought about buying stuff, you know, from France before, but if that's a kind of sign of things to come, you know, you get things cheaper, I'll probably do that in future. So yeah, that was the other purchase I got, that 3DS thing. Now the other thing which I've got here, which I want to talk about, it's got nothing to do with gaming. I'm a massive Marillion fan. I still do listen to them. I loved them back in the 80s. I sadly never got to see them in concert. I mean, they'd kind of almost split up just as I was kind of getting into them. But anyway, yeah. But I noticed last night that Fish, who is the lead singer of Marillion, or he used to be, he doesn't play with Marillion anymore. It was 30 years ago when Misplaced Childhood album came out. So Fish is actually going back on the road, and he's going to be performing, he says, for the last time ever, the Misplaced Childhood songs. So I've managed to get tickets for that for December, so I'm really excited about that. Never ever seen him in concert. And the funny thing is, he actually lives about, I don't know, about an hour away from here. He lives in a place called Dalkeith, or is it Haddington, I think it is, which isn't far from me. So yeah, that was that. So anyway, I'm going to pause this for a wee second, guys. Right, okay, let's get into the meat and bones of this waffle. Now, thanks for some of the questions, guys. Apart from the stuff I've just mentioned, I didn't really have anything to talk about. But as some of you may know, there's people put out like questions for the community. So I thought to myself, I'm not a big. It's not that I'm not a fan. I've not been watching many videos, but I thought there's always some interesting questions out there. So I had a look, and GLS, I beg your pardon, John, GL76 Gaming, John, one of my mates, John put out 5 random questions. Well, they're not random, I'm sure he actually thought of them, you know, they weren't just randomly picked. Now, the first question John is asking, if you could only have one game in your collection for a year, what would it be? So what I'm thinking here, John, what you're saying is, if you can only have one game out your collection, that's the only game you can play for a year, what would it be? I think that's a simple one for me. It's going to be Robotron. Yeah, Robotron 2084, without a shadow of doubt. Number 2, which do you play more, modern games or retro games? Oh, that's a tough one. Right now, I'm not playing many games at all. I'll be perfectly honest, I don't, although I love old games, you know, retro games, I don't like calling them retro games because they're just games to me. Although I love 8-bit and 16-bit games, I don't really play them that often. I like to talk about them, I like to look at them and read about them, but I don't play them that often. I mean, I've been playing Max Payne 4, I've been playing a few games on the PC. It's hard to say, I'm not playing that many games at the moment at all, but I would probably say I play modern games more, which you might find surprising, but I don't really play that many games at the moment. I mean, if you count me playing the games that I play from my mashups, then it might be older games, but no, I mean, games that I choose to play is generally I should say, modern games, yep. Number 3, do you watch any big YouTube channels? If so, who do you watch and why? Do you try to engage with them, or are you just happy to watch their content? Now again, as I've mentioned, I'm really not watching that many videos at the moment at all. I want to change that because I mean there's a lot of cracking YouTubers out there, and I want to, you know, putting out some great videos. I mean, I suppose, let me think, what I don't watch many channels. Big channel wise, I suppose Ashens. It's all the normal ones. Ashens, Stuart Ashens. He reviews. He doesn't review. He eats old food. He eats food that's like 30 years old, and he buys crap from Poundland and reviews it. So yeah, I watch Stuart Ashens. I used to watch Steve Benway. It was Steve Benway that really got me into the whole YouTube subscription scene. Before I watched Steve Benway, I just thought YouTube was somewhere where you went to watch a music video. I didn't really understand what subscribers or members or that were at all. So it was only when one of my mates mentioned to me this guy called Steve Benway, that kind of got me hooked. Sadly, Steve doesn't make many videos at all now. In fact, the only videos that he puts out these days are sort of like playthroughs, or you know, playing a game badly. He's currently studying in university, doing a home university course. So quite rightly, he's got he needs to focus his time on other things. So Steve's not really putting out any videos at the moment. So yeah, I'd say there are only 2 big channels. I mean, I watch Lawn Boys Post 1975. He's a sort of a big channel as far as retro is concerned. But yeah, that's it. Now, what was the other part of the question? Oh, bugger off. The other part of the question was, hang on, enable editing. If so, do you watch and why? Why do I watch? Just because they're entertaining. Steve Benway, He's got a great way talking. He makes you, he's interesting. He just talks a bit like what I do. He just talks to the camera. He doesn't have any airs or graces about him. He doesn't try to hide who he is. He just talks, and I like that kind of sort of openness and honesty about him. Stuart Ashens is just really funny. He's a kind of part-time actor, so he's got a really good rapport with the camera. It sounds easy what he does when he's talking, but it's not actually. But he's funny to listen to. Dave, London Boys Post 1975. Dave again, he's just a totally chilled out guy. He was really easy to listen to. He's just entertaining, you know, and I always like what he's got to say. So yeah, do you try to engage with him, or are you just happy to watch? Stuart Ashens, I don't engage in any shape or form, because he's got something like what's he got? I think he's about 300,000 subscribers. So you know, I don't make any point in commenting, because he's not going to reply to it, and I don't see any point in making a comment if, you know, the person's probably not even going to see the comment. So I don't engage with Stuart Ashens at all. Steve Benby, I do, yeah. If I do watch a video of his, I'll usually like it, and I'll usually leave a wee comment. And it's the same with Dave, London Boys Post 1975. So yeah, I will engage if it's a smaller channel. If it's a huge channel, I might give it a thumbs up, but I certainly won't go commenting as such. Excuse me. What else? Right, number 4, John is asking, what is your saddest game collection? If you have such a thing, saddest. I'm guessing you mean something that is pretty shit and you're embarrassed about, rather than something that makes you cry. I can't say I've got anything, any collection that's like you would deem, oh, that's sad. I don't collect butterflies or stamps or anything like that. I mean, the only thing I had, which I've since gotten rid of, was the Game King, which was a sort of a knockoff kind of Game Boy, and it was basically shit, absolutely shit. But because it was so shit, it was quite good. So yeah, I bought that, and I had some games for it as well, but I got rid of it because it's shit. So yeah, but nah, there's nothing. I can't say there's anything in my collection that I'm particularly embarrassed about or is sad at all. So no, that's probably not a really relevant question for me, that one. And the last one is, John's asking, do you put content creating, editing before playing games? I'm guessing you mean there, John, do you put making videos before playing games? Yeah, content creating, editing. Right now, probably, yeah, I certainly spend more time making videos than I do playing games. It's just the way things are at the moment. I don't miss playing games. I mean, I can play a game. I could be playing a game just now if I want. But I'm choosing to make a video. That's just the way I roll, you know. I mean, I like I said, I like talking about games. I like talking about games. I like reading about them. I do like playing them as well, but you know, it doesn't really bother me that I don't get to play them that often. So that was my sort of VR response to John for his ones. Now, Novabug, Chris, he has a thing called the Friday Foursome, who misses. He basically, I think it's once a fortnight or once a month. I do beg your pardon, Chris, if I got this wrong. He asks for 4 answers to a question, and he usually asks for a kind of VR type thing. So yeah, this is going to be my VR as well to this one. What he said is 4 pieces of technology you miss the most. Now, I don't know if I've got this right, but I'm going to go with stuff that is no longer available, but I miss. So hopefully I've got that right, Chris. But let's go for it. I'm going to have a wee drinky my tea. Excuse me. Okay, right. My first piece of technology that I miss is, now anybody that's got a car will know, cars all come with stereos built in. You know, I've got this old singing, old dancing car. It's a company car, and it's got this fancy stereo, and it's got, don't know how many speakers, 6 speakers or something in it, and it's all very nice. But what I miss is the the good old 1980s car stereo that used to fit yourself. I mean, believe it or not, guys, some of you may be too young for this one. Back in the 1980s, when you bought a car, generally it didn't come, if you're buying an old car, it didn't come with any mirrors. Yep, I know you'll think that's madness, and it probably was, but nope, you had to actually fit your, there was two things you had to put in a car when you bought it. Pardon me. When you're buying a banger, which was all you could afford when you're a sort of a kid, you had to put mirrors on it, and you would also put a car stereo. If you're lucky, it would have one already built in. You might have a radio or something. But yeah, you used to go to the market and you pick up, you know, the fanciest looking one, you know, the more lights it had in it, the better. And then you wired it up to a set of big speakers, and you put them in the back of the car, and you turned this thing on, and it was just the absolute dog's bollocks. I mean, I remember there was, if it's Pimp My Ride, I think it is, you used to get some people, they would literally they would put like speakers in the back seat, and it would literally take up the whole of the back of the car, the size of the speakers. I never went to that extreme, but yeah, getting a new car stereo and fitting it yourself with the wires, and you'd push them underneath the carpet and you'd tuck them in underneath the kind of plastic veneer, and then you turn this thing on and it would light up. It looked like the bloody Starship Enterprise, and you know, if you were lucky, it had bass and that kind of stuff, and it was just a dog's bollocks. You know, it was very much a you know, you bought the best one you could possibly afford. So yep, car stereos from 1980s, I miss them. They certainly beat the sort of like the clinically clean pre-installed ones you get in cars now. Second piece of technology that I miss, now you probably can get them, but they're not common, is I think it was Sinclair actually brought it out, the LED watch. It was just a black watch, black screen, and you press the button and it would light up. It was like red LED. It was gorgeous. I never actually had one, but I remember thinking they looked really smart. They looked smart in 1982, and I think they look really smart even now. Yeah, I mean, you like I say, you probably can buy them, but you know, these are the original. I think it was Sinclair. I think it was Sinclair that actually brought out the very first one. I'm not too sure. I might be talking shite, but yep, red LED watches. They were the dog's bollocks. Third one. Now, if you're under, probably anybody under 35 probably wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about. Now, when I was growing up as a kid, believe it or not, kids, things like mobile phones, I'm pointing to it and it's downstairs, mobile phones didn't exist, smartphones didn't exist, digital cameras didn't exist. Oh no. Back then, when you went on holiday, you would get a spool, which was like a roll of film, and if you had, you would get, what was it, 12 photographs, and if you had loads of money, you would get I think it was at 24 and 32, so like 32 pictures, that was the maximum you could take. What you did was, once you'd taken 32 pictures, you came home off holiday, you took it to the chemist, and you would get it developed. And what they would do is they'd basically, you go back after a few days, collect your photos, and you would hand them over like £7. I mean, it's a bloody extortionate, you know. Digital cameras now, you can take 1,000 pictures and nobody gives a shit. It doesn't cost you anything. But yeah, back then we had to, it was like rolls of film. It's not that part that I miss. It's when you got the film, when you handed the film in, you could get back, rather than get a printed photo, you could get back what was called a slide. Now a slide, it was like a little plastic thing about yon size, and it looked like a kind of negative. If you imagine holding up a really film up to light, you would be able to see what's on it. Well, basically that's what a slide was. It was like a see-through photograph. It looks like a kind of negative. But what you then did was, I mean, you could hold it up to the light and look at it, but that wasn't the way it was designed. You could you got what was called a slide projector, and it was something that your dad, it was an event. It was actually an event, like, you know, when you came home from holiday, you would invite some of your family and friends round to see your holiday photos, and you would literally all cram into your living room, and you would have this, you would have this big massive white screen, and your dad would be sitting there with his slides, 250 slides, and he would take it in turn to show you these slides, and you got this picture, and it was like 12 feet wide by 6 feet, massive, and it was actually an event. I mean, don't get me wrong, if it was somebody, they could be as boring as shit, some people's slides, obviously if the content themselves was crap, but it was just it was epic. It was a great way to look. It was like it was the best way to share pictures. Nowadays, what do? You take a photograph, you put it on Facebook, and people like it. But no, back then, people came to the house, and you would have a slideshow, and you would show people your holiday photos on a massive screen. Then your mum, you'd have a break in between. Your mum would go away and put the kettle on and come back with some tea and biscuits. So yep, good old fashioned slideshow projectors. And the very last one, I've called this old school mobile phones. None of your iPhone 6 pish. I'm talking about a normal, was it a Nokia 3310? Just a normal standard phone. How many times have you go out, out in the car somewhere or going into town, whatever, and you think, I'll pick up my phone. You pick it up and you look at it and it's got 6% and it's like bollocks. So you either take it out and it runs out of batteries, or else you leave it in the house and you can't use it. Back in, when did I get my first phone? 1999 I think it was. It was a standard phone. It didn't have, I mean, if you were lucky, the later ones had cameras. But this thing, what did it do? You could phone, you could play Snake, which was like a really basic game. You could send text messages, and that was basically all you could do. I think you could also get a calculator as well. That was the very early ones. But there was something really cool about, some of these phones that were quite wee, especially some of the flip-up ones, like you got in the Matrix. Was it Motorola, I think it was. They were really, really cool. But there's something great about these phones. It was just a phone, it did what it said in the tin. You used it for making phone calls, and that was it. You'd maybe send in a text message. I mean, I was in Glasgow on, what day was it? Tuesday I think it was, this week, and I think I've mentioned this before, and I sat in the train and it was really busy, and I kid you not, bar about 2 people that I could see, everybody else was on their phone. And you know what, that, seeing people on their phone, I mean, I'm talking about everybody, I say, apart from me and 2 other people, everybody's just sitting, looking at the screen. Nobody's talking. Even people that are with each other, they're not talking to each other. They're too busy on Facebook, sending text messages. It's, I don't know. I mean, I think technology has just gone too far. It's not the technology that's wrong, it's the use of it. People that are kind of forgetting what it's like to actually speak to one another. So yeah, I miss just a good old fashioned phone, a mobile phone you stuck in your back pocket. You make phone calls, you send texts, you use it to add up your shopping with a calculator. That was it. And you maybe, if you're really bored, you'd have a game of Snake. They were really cool, and the great thing was you only had to charge it about once every 2-3 days. None of this charging it every single day like you do with these smartphones. So yeah, that's it. That is my 4th bit of tech. So I'm going to pause it right now, guys, and I'll be back in a second. Just something that crossed my mind when I was talking there. On the job front, I know you guys are quite sort of keen to hear how my job's going. As you know, I'm still doing this job. I'm supposed to be finishing up in June, which I don't think is going to happen. However, some of you have probably heard of a site called LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, the best way to describe LinkedIn is, I call it Facebook for posh people. It's Facebook for yuppies. LinkedIn is basically, you put your picture up and you put it's like an online CV kind of thing, and you get friends, people can add you to your network and all this kind of shite. But I actually got an email yesterday from a guy. He'd seen my sort of profile thing, and I phoned him up. Excuse me. He's got a job that he said I might be interested in, so I had a look at it. Phoned him up today about it, and bloody hell, the wages are about 33% more than I'm getting at the moment. So yeah, it's a fair more chunky money. Now, I'm really enjoying the job that I'm doing just now, but I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, the company that I'm with at the moment they've not given me any guarantee yet about the job. I'm 99.9, I would say 100% sure that I'm going to have a job. But I thought to myself, why don't I go along, see about this other job? You know, if I get an interview, I can go along for the interview. If the work, you know, if it turns out they offer me the job, I can think about it and I can always turn it down. But I thought, yeah, what the hell? Why don't I go for it? Nothing to lose. I mean, there's no pressure because I really think this job that I'm in, I'm enjoying it, and I really think that it's going to work out. But if I did get offered this other job, if I got an interview, got offered it, then I can go back to the company I'm with just now and tell them, look, they're going to be paying me a shitload more money. You know, can you match it? And if they say no, then I could go take my redundancy and go and get this other job. But you know, it's early days yet. I've not even got an interview or whatever. But yeah, I'm going to go along. I think, in fact, the guy's actually, because I work from home quite a lot, he's actually going to Glasgow on Monday, and on his way back to Edinburgh, he's going to pop into my house, and see me, have a chat, and see what's what. So yeah, that's all good. Okay, right, guys. I've got 2 sets of questions. Thank you very much. The first one is from Down the Rabbit Hole. He's getting a bit of a common question asker. Thank you very much, Squire. Hi Alan, I have another question for your Friday Waffle. What is your favourite video game based on a sport? I assume a title related to jogging. Jogging, you cheeky so-and-so. I run, I don't jog. Don't actually know what the difference between jogging and running is, but no, I like to term myself a runner rather than a jogger. What's my favourite sporting game? I suppose, I mean, my favourite football game was Sensei Soccer. Now, I am not a football fan at all. I mean, I'm Scottish, but I really got no time for football. But I absolutely love Sensible Soccer. It's fantastic. Some soccer fans may say it's got nothing to do with football, but I love Sensible Soccer. But yeah, that's like an older game. But I suppose sporting wise, the games that I've always really enjoyed, and unfortunately they're not common at all, are basically track and field games. So yeah, kind of athletic games. I love the whole physical aspect of these games. You've really got to hammer buttons, you've got to waggle joysticks, etc, etc. I love that aspect. I mean, I used to play Activision Decathlon, I used to play Daley Thompson's, etc, and you know, me and my mates and that, and it was fantastic. You really felt like you were kind of physical. Sorry about that, guys, that was the battery depleting. Yeah, I love kind of joystick waggly type, athletic-y type games. So yeah, you're probably right actually, it is kind of based on running. I've never played a jogging simulator yet. But aye, so what was the other part of the question? So yeah, I like running games or athletic games, I would say. What's your favourite? I assume or is your favourite sports video game based on a sport you don't actually enjoy? Now he goes on to say here, for example, I quite like Senti's Hat-Trick arcade machine, but I don't like hockey. This is particularly odd for me since I am Canadian. I suppose it is. It's like you. It's like me not liking football being Scottish. Aye, I mean, I used to play. I'm not a rugby fan. I mean, I prefer watching rugby more than football, I suppose. But I'm not really a rugby fan as such. But I used to enjoy playing. There was a rugby game, Rugby World Cup, I think it was called, on the Commodore Amiga. I used to like playing that. I used to play it quite a lot in I've got it in the 360, not FIFA, what the hell would you call it? EA Rugby. Like playing that. I also like playing these kind of wee apps that you get where you take penalty kicks and like conversion kicks. So yeah, I don't, although I'm not into rugby or football, I like these kind of wee challengey type things like penalty shootouts and that kind of stuff. I quite enjoy things like that. But anything else, I like playing pool games and snooker games. Although saying that, I quite like playing pool in real life, and that I've played for a long, long time. No, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. So yeah, hopefully I've answered your question. And finally, the ever reliable Mr. Williamson. He's saying here, you're clearly, let's try turning this. Is it going to spin? That's better. Yeah, you're clearly loving the Blimey It's Only interviews, as are we of course. But who would you love to interview but will never get the chance to? It can be anyone alive or dead and doesn't have to be someone gaming related. Well, you know what, you've just told me who I would love to interview. Personally, I would love to interview Elvis and Clint, apparently immortal. Yeah, I think I would like to interview Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley's a funny one. I mean, I love his music, I really do. I always think that if guys like Elvis were alive now, then he wouldn't be as popular. It's like people like to talk about Marilyn Monroe and they talk about James Woods, is that his name? James Woods. What's his name? Yeah, it's James Woods, isn't it? Rebel Without a Cause. It is James Woods. Yeah, I think it is. Is it? I can't remember. Yeah, but there's all these people. There's all these people who are like in like Jim. What's his face? Oh bloody hell, Jim Morrison from The Doors. All these guys that people rave about. It's because he died. I always think it's because they died at their utter prime. It's the same like Jimi Hendrix. They died doing what they did. It's the same with Kurt Cobain. Probably now, if Kurt Cobain hadn't died, he'd probably be, I don't know what age he'd be. He'd be about 50 years old. He'd probably live in Sheffield. He'd probably go to Tesco for his messages. Well, probably not, but you know, he'd just be a normal run of the mill bloke. But because these people died, you know, at their very, well, at their prime, people will forever, they're like frozen in time kind of thing. And I think Elvis is the same as that, because he kind of died. He died quite young. I mean, he was what, in his 60s, but you know, if he was an old man now, I don't think there'd be the same attraction to Elvis. So anyway, yeah, Elvis is definitely one. Who else would I like to speak to? Apart from like the old cliche like my mum and dad, I mean that's kind of goes without saying. Don't know. No, I'm trying to think. I mean, gaming related, I would probably say I've spoke to the guy that I want to speak to most. I think is interesting. That's Mr. Dominic Diamond. You know, I suppose it'd be interesting talking to Miyamoto. I'm not even going to shig Miyamoto, you know, creator of Mario. But no, I'm trying to think. I suppose people, somebody like David Attenborough, or dare I say Stephen Fry. I mean, these are two stupidly intelligent people. You know, they'd be real interesting to talk to. No, I'm sorry, Gio, I'm not got anybody interesting. I just can't. No, I can't think of anybody really relevantly interesting that I'd like to speak to. No, sorry, I'll need to move on with that one. That wasn't a very good answer. Number 2, when you were a C64 owning young whippersnapper, what games, when first announcing Zap's HAL pages, couldn't you wait to get your hands on? I remember being desperate to play Gauntlet, for example. Well, yeah, Gauntlet was a biggie. That was one of these games that was previewed non-stop. I remember hearing. I remember seeing Gauntlet, playing it in the arcades. Then Zap announced that I think US Gold had secured the rights to Gauntlet, and you thought it's going to be shite. Then they posted a wee kind of teaser photograph, like a screenshot, and they kept kind of just like drip feeding pictures, and I was exactly the same. I couldn't wait to get that. I really couldn't. Other kind of big blockbustery games, probably Gauntlet is probably the biggie. There was there was plenty of games that I read reviews of, and I wanted to go and just buy it right away. The Exploding Fist. I couldn't wait to get that. I remember reading the review of it, and it just looked amazing. Summer Games 2. I think I got something like 98%. World Games. Yeah, when I read these reviews, I just couldn't wait to get my hands on them. Yeah. I think that's that one. And lastly, Jamie's saying here, following on from that, what desperately awaited games disappointed you when they finally arrived? Fucking Outrun. And which ones matched or exceeded your hopes and expectations? Right, what ones disappointed? Gauntlet, maybe? I don't know. Gauntlet was... It's not a bad version. It just somehow felt a bit easy and a bit boring, I think. What do you call it? Excuse me. Space Harrier. I shouldn't have expected anything. We're talking about a big, multiple processor, huge, big hydraulic cab getting put onto like a 30, an 8-bit machine. But I always remember playing Space Harrier. In fact, you know what? Yeah, Space Harrier was a bit the one game that I liked in the arcades, and I got to play the Spectrum one. I thought that's excellent, and it turned out to be crap, absolutely shit on a stick, and that was Enduro Racer by Activision. I think it was the Commodore 64 version of Enduro Racer. It's just absolutely awful. It's a god awful game, it really is. That was a bitter disappointment. Anything else? I suppose, what was it called? Was it Year Kung Fu 2? I loved the original Year Kung Fu, even the C64 version I thought was excellent. Then they announced a sequel to it, and I remember just being really disappointed with the graphics. They'd kind of improved the graphics, but just the playability, and I don't know, I didn't enjoy that at all. So yeah, that was another one that I thought was quite disappointing. Games that exceeded expectations. What do you call it? Ghosts and Goblins. That was amazing. Still is. Commando. I thought both these were excellent. Excellent games. In fact, I think other games that had Bounty Bob Strikes Back. Yeah, it was one of these games. It got great reviews, and it's like you played it, or you didn't play it. You looked at it and you thought, how can this be a good game? Look at it, it's got shit graphics. The graphics are bloody awful. But when I actually got the game, I realised just what a fantastic game it was. So yeah, that was one that probably delivered and exceeded my expectations. And stuff like Drop Zone, Drop Zone looked good. And it didn't disappoint. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I can possibly think of. Yeah, anyway guys, listen, that is it. Apologies for spending far too much time looking at that screen. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my waffling for another week. Coming up, what have I got? I've got Mr. John Studley. Got him interviewing John on Sunday. So I've got all the questions, and I promise I will ask your questions, guys. I've already got them printed out as well before my printer went in the blink. So I've got that on Sunday. I'll probably get another That Was the Year That Was out Monday, Tuesday next week. Anything else? I'm getting to the end of That Was the Year That Was, so I'm going to be thinking about other stuff. There's a few bits and pieces I've kind of thinking about, new features and that kind of stuff. So anyway, listen guys, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Please feel free to like, comment and subscribe. If you're watching this on Friday, I hope you have an excellent weekend. And last thing, thank you very much for watching.